I'm Matt Gishard, and this is No Holds Barred. In today's episode, we're going to talk about pedestrian accidents and a little bit about ducks in the road. Seems every day we're hearing about some horrific accident involving people on the freeway, people on the side of the road, somebody believing it's safe to get out in the road and herd some little duckies along. We hear about that all the time. We say to ourselves, what are actually the rules that apply to pedestrians in the roadway? Well, for the most part, they're just common sense rules. I have a friend with the highway patrol who says she oftentimes would park on the side of the road, sit in her car without her seatbelt on until she was rear-ended, and up after that, parked on the side of the freeway, make sure that your seatbelt is fastened. Why is that? Because vehicles are coming at high speed, whether it's on city streets or whatever, and as pedestrians, otherwise, or people within a vehicle after it's been in an accident, you want to look out for your own safety. In today's world, as we know, people are texting, they're reaching down for their music, they're doing all kinds of distracted things, and they're not paying attention necessarily to pedestrians that are in the roadway or on the side of the roadway. Let's get back then to something we just heard about, a horrific accident in the Bay Area within the last few days. There was an accident, drivers got out of their car, they're standing there on the median strip, and another car came along and hit them, all three of them, and killed all three of them. Killed one immediately and knocked the other two into the opposite lanes of travel, and they were killed. You see signs on the side of the road, oftentimes on the freeway, that says, if there's a minor accident, move your vehicle out of the roadway. And of course, we know those stubborn people over the years. I was told by my insurance company, don't move the car. If it's the most minor little fender bender, you sit in the middle of the freeway waiting for the highway patrol to show up. That's a bad move. If your vehicle is operable, get it off the freeway, preferably to the right and off the freeway as far as you could possibly get it. Sit in your vehicle, keep your seat belt fastened until help arrives. That's the smartest move, and that's what you should do. Now, occasionally, the vehicle is not operable. You can't move it. What is the smartest thing to do? Remain in your vehicle, again, with your seatbelt fastened. Now, every situation can be slightly different. It may be that you feel it's so dangerous, you need to get out of your vehicle and move to a position of safety. If that's what you feel, go ahead and do it. But a position of safety is not standing in front of your vehicle, nor is it standing between the two vehicles. It is a position of safety is off the freeway as far as you can get and as safe as you can possibly get. So those are common sense kinds of things that we often say, and that's what the police say. That's what the California Highway Patrol says. Remain in your vehicle. If you can't move it, remain in your vehicle with your seatbelt fastened, or move it to the side of the road, keep your seatbelt on, and remain in your vehicle. Those 3,000 and 4,000 pound vehicles are going to do some real damage to somebody who weighs 165, 170 pounds. And people are naive when they're standing on the side of the road with traffic flying by, thinking that, in fact, it's safe and they have rights. Well, you have plenty of rights to talk to the other people and get identifying information, but I think a bigger right is your life and your safety. So critically important. I will state at this point that I think it's absurd, and I'll use that term, that's my own personal opinion, our new jaywalking law in the state of California. And keep in mind, the reason for jaywalking rules in the very first place is pedestrian safety. So having people walk willy-nilly across the road in an unsafe fashion isn't pedestrian safety, and we're going to see more and more of these stories about pedestrians being injured because of that new rule about jaywalking. And I think, as we talked in a previous session, that a citizen can walk across, can actually jaywalk if they believe it's safe. So let's ponder this. They believe it's safe, but it's not safe. And they're involved in a collision with a motor vehicle and seriously injured. Well, under that new law, whose fault is that? My opinion is use the safest means possible to cross the road. And that means, unless there's an emergency, go down to that light and press the button and wait for the light and walk across safely in that fashion. We heard a little bit a while ago about some nice person who saw a mother duck and her ducklings along the road, and that person got out of a vehicle and got out into the roadway and was helping to move those little ducklings and that mother duck along. And he was hit and killed. And a good Samaritan doing the best he could, but actually that showed poor judgment. Don't get out in the roadway where it is unsafe, even if it's a mother duck and her ducklings, because danger lurks. And again, we go back to that thing that I've often talked about. Statistically, more people now are killed or injured by distracted driving than by driving under the influence drivers. So in other words, that distracted driving has become so big, and that's people on their phones, that's people texting, that's playing with the radio, eating food, whatever. That the numbers are incredible. And when that person for just a couple of seconds is distracted and doesn't see you in the roadway, there is peril there. Another thing that we often hear from the police, and it's very important to understand, when you step off, even if you have the light for you, you're a pedestrian and you're walking across at a signal and you have your phone, get off your phone and look and watch and ensure that drivers see and acknowledge that you're lawfully in the crosswalk, crossing with the light, but they see you. But how many times have you seen that person is working on the phone? They've got headphones, they've got their phone on, they're looking down, they don't pay the least bit of attention when they're lawfully walking across the street. But in my opinion, that's very unsafe. You want to make eye contact. And that kind of goes to something we talked before about what is the reason, the rule that you can't have blackened out windows on the driver's side and the passenger side in the front of a vehicle. And that is not so the police can look in. That may benefit the police or somebody looking in. That is so that the driver can make eye contact with the pedestrian and appreciate that there's a potential danger there. So that's an important thing today. That's kind of what we're going to talk about, or what we've talked about, and just some of the issues that relate to pedestrian accidents and pedestrian safety. But it's honestly very, very important that if you are injured in a situation such as I've described, or any other situation, and you are a pedestrian, or you are that adverse driver who struck a pedestrian, contact an attorney. That's the kind of work we do, and there are specialized attorneys who can assist you, either as the victim having been run over, the driver having run into somebody. Very, very important that you seek legal counsel so you can understand your rights and also your responsibilities. So that does it for this episode of No Holds Barred. Hit the like and subscribe buttons. That helps us with our YouTube algorithm. Stay tuned for the next episode of No Holds Barred.